In this lesson, we're going to revise and learn some other key points about reflections, rotations, and translations. So I've cut out here the number 2 to help demonstrate this, as often when we look at, say, reflections with, say, a square, because it's symmetrical and we reflect it, it looks exactly the same. So this number 2 will be a good demonstration of that. So here, when we reflect this number 2, it's as though it's a mirror here. Okay, we want to pretend there is a mirror. Okay, we've all looked at mirrors in our homes, and what we see is kind of the opposite, and it's exactly the same here. So we flip over the 2 like that. I'll try and do it without my arm in the way. So we have the 2 there, and we're reflecting that. It's like looking in some water. So here you can see it reflected there. These 2 points are touching because they were touching initially. So on this point of reflection here. So that is how we reflect. Over here, we will rotate. Now this is the area where we're learning a little bit more, incorporating our angles work. So if we are to rotate this number 2, we need to choose a point of rotation, a particular point. So say we pick this point here, this corner of the 2, that's where we're actually going to rotate it. So we're going to pretend that it's stuck there, and we're going to rotate around that point. So that corner always has to stay there like that. So I've just rotated that 2 there. And in year 4 and year 3, we've explored that before. But now we're looking at rotating specifically in terms of an angle in degrees. So say we have our 2 here, and we need to rotate on this turning point 90 degrees. We will go like that, and it has been rotated 90 degrees. I'll make a quick other video on the computer to show this, because when we rotate any object in Google Docs or in the slides, it shows the degree that you're rotating and by how much, and that's probably a better representation of that. So this is our starting point, and I've chosen my turning point here in the corner, and say I want to rotate this 180 degrees. I'm going to stay on that point there, and as you can see, the corner is still there. Okay, but I've rotated 100 degrees, and we were to get a protractor, we can measure that. Okay, and we can actually do that on the computer. So that's rotation. That's the turning point we need to focus on. Now, just for another quick example, if we were to change that turning point to this corner here, and we turn around that corner there, and say we rotate 90 degrees. There we go there. See how it looks very different? So the point in which you rotate is very important. And last, we have translate. And the best way to remember translation, well, it's essentially the easiest one. But many of you at home speak a different language. And when we translate different languages, it's the same thing, okay, but said differently. Same here. It's the same shape in a different location, okay? So essentially that's a translation. I've moved the 2 from one place to another. It's still the same 2. It's just in a different spot, okay? It's like our language. It's the same words, and what we're trying to communicate is the same. It's just in a different language. So translation. So here we have reflection, rotation, and translation.